Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
We have seen an orb not that long ago. I mean, we were calling it a spy balloon a lot more often than that, but still spherical, right? And then you probably did read about the mysterious orb that washed up on the Japanese soil, the Japanese beach. It was found on Tuesday of this week, and the person who found it contacted the police. They checked it out for explosives, found no evidence that there was any danger, and then just went on to say, hey, it's a mystery. Has some handles on it. Seems pretty strange. And it's also hollow, they found out. X-ray scans confirmed it. What is it, though? Big question mark. We still have no idea what it is. But my brain started twisting some synapses together slowly, as it does. And after the sky orb was selfied and shot down, and now a water orb got beached, I'm beginning to fear another shiny monolith saga all over again. That was a whole thing. A whole thing. And you know what? If we're choosing, I'd actually rather another Balloon Boy Falcon situation. The Northlands Coliseum. This is pretty, crazy. The site of so many hockey games, so many concerts, so many events, is not long for this world. Now, it was in December that it was announced that it was for sure going to be demolished. And this is a building that has been kind of sitting, not doing a whole lot of anything. And while it does that, costing about, $1.5 million a year to do it. So, I mean, it totally understands. They do have to get ahead of it, but still, making people a little nostalgic, especially because they let in media for like one last time to check out the bones of the place just recently, just over the weekend. Now, I didn't get to go and check it out. Of course, it's a little far away to just do that on a whim, but I did dig up some photos from 2009. The one and only time that I was able to get, kind of behind the scenes access in Oilers Nation and actually go up on the media catwalk, which was, encircling the rink up in the sky. And, there's some rules to going up there, but some amazing sights. Got to see the flags, the retired numbers and everything and the accolades of the team up close. It was very cool. Of course, they're in a new spot, not too far away. Very fancy looking downtown in the Ice District in Edmonton, and the Northlands Coliseum, not just that, but the entire Northlands Expo area is going to be completely redeveloped. But one thing at a time, and they got to demolish this big old Coliseum at some point in this year. I don't know exactly when it's happening, but it seems like the clock is ticking down.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Rocking through theaters already and making waves as it does. Cocaine Bear. Big story, big conversation around the water cooler all through this week, I'm sure. And almost made it to number one at the box office. Did pretty darn well. Way better than it was expected to. But, I mean, this is kind of like a cultural phenomenon thing. And when that happens, when a movie makes a lot of money that it wasn't expected to make, guess what happens immediately afterwards? The copycats arrive, and I'm here to tell you, they are wasting no time this time around. There's a group called The Asylum, a studio that is going to be making Attack of the Meth Gator, coming for your life this summer. And also, yes, kind of sort of based loosely on a true story. Less so than Cocaine Bear, though. I mean, a pile of cocaine did fall out of a plane. A bear did eat it. That did happen. But this is more based on a series of news articles, headlines that were saying Tennessee police are warning that if you flush your drugs down the drain, it could make hyper-aggressive meth alligators. Yeah. Not from sci-fi, but definitely in the vein of Sharknado, and we're not going to have to wait that long to watch it. Starting with Pearl Jam and a big announcement, a 25th anniversary reissue of Yield. Yeah, and that's going to be coming out, pressed on vinyl and back on CD. For the first time on Record Store Day 2023. We've got some big things in the works for that. That's coming up. Very exciting. But in addition to that, the Giveaway concert film from the Yield era is also going to be released in time. And this is huge fifth studio album that did come out for them 1998 and got one of my all-time favorite Pearl Jam songs on there, Do the Evolution, as well as Given to Fly. And if you want to find out more about it, I mean, find Pearl Jam online. They're telling you all the details about 180-gram translucent red and black high melt vinyl and more. It's very exciting for Pearl Jam fans. Live Nation and Ticketmaster have put out a statement saying we need to focus on the facts and talking about any chance of improving ticketing for fans as well as artists. This is something that has come under a lot of fire with extremely high prices for tickets and a lot of scalpers market releases going on. They say that the laws need to be enforced. Well, I mean, it goes both ways on that street. But in other news, Madonna has seen some tragedy as her older brother, Anthony Ciccone, has died at the age of 66. In a statement from the family, he was described as a complex character and one of 7 siblings of the pop icon. He passed away on Friday night and will be remembered sincerely.
Tuesday.
You likely have, run into this somewhere on the internet of late, last little bit. A guy who has the, record for the most consecutive visits to Disneyland. And that's that number 2,995, like nearly 3,000. That Disney guy has been going for nearly 3,000 days straight, right? Sounds like it might have just been a recent thing. That's why there's like a news article about it, like floating around, right? But then you think, wait a minute, hang on, 3,000 days is almost like 10 years, but the pandemic shut down theme parks when it arrived. Hang on, you look a little closer and you go, wait, you're right. The reason that he didn't make it to 3,000 consecutive days is because the pandemic arrived in 2020. So this isn't really a news story, right? It's 3 years old. The only thing I want to know about this guy right now in 2023 is did he finally get a job or not? Come on. On your journey through life, sometimes you find love. And sometimes when people find love, they want to get married. They want to tie the knot, get hitched. And every once in a while, when people are in that state, that enamored state of bliss, they want to combine their names, right? Oh, it's so beautiful. And if you happen to have 2 names that when hyphenated together are pretty funny, you kind of have to, right? You pretty much have to. That's how I feel. I'm not in that situation. Me and my significant other's names, they're not really funny together. But I did just hear about a couple that have gotten engaged that I know, distantly sort of, acquaintances, associates, but I realized their names put together, that'd be pretty funny. I was like, who's taking whose name? Are they hyphenating it? You got to tell me, are they hyphenating it? Because every once in a while, especially back when you used to see the announcements in the newspaper all the time, there's collections of these all over the internet. The best combinations of names. Like, if one of you is named Gross and one of you is named Panty, you maybe don't become the Gross Panties. Or maybe you do. One of you is named Best, the other's named Lay. Those are pretty normal names. Now you're the Best Lays. I absolutely love it. And one of the weirdest ones out there is the Beavers and the Wetters becoming one family at last. Finally becoming the Beaver Wetters. Yeah, no, that sounds awkward, but at least it's not as awkward as the Wetter Beavers. Interestingly enough, this sort of came from a different headline. Famed conspiracy theorist Alex Jones made a claim that all musicians have an area on the clause, the contract, when they sign on for record contract deals that actually pledges themselves to Lucifer, that they have to reject Jesus Christ before inking deals. And Mike Mills of REM is the one to respond to this. Can confirm. Yeah, absolutely. Had to do it. In blood as well. Yeah, totally. Just don't need to pay this any mind or any attention other than sheer mockery, honestly. But nothing to scoff at is a chance to listen to some brand new Metallica. They have been teasing a brand new song on TikTok. That's right. While the governments of the world are rejecting the possibility of any worker using this platform for fear of espionage, Metallica saying, hey, we got a new album, 72 Seasons, coming out later this year. You want to hear some new stuff and duet with it? Jump online and go for it. Yeah, their very first single since, first album release, rather, since 2016's Hardwired to Self-Destruct, comes out April 14th, and we've only been able to see a taste of 2 songs from it so far.
Wednesday.
The big question today, what is a word that you just hate? Let us know. Moist has already entered the chat. Already. Took no time at all. But there's got to be another one. Let us know. And in the meantime, I'm going to add to your list because there's new dictionary words that have been added to dictionary.com. In fact, over 300 new words have been added. 130 new definitions for existing entries have been added. And then over 1,000 definitions have been revised. This is a yearly thing. Happens, constantly. Words change. The English language evolves. There's no problem with that, but sometimes you get frustrated when you hear what they've added. Things like petfluencer. Yeah, don't need that in my lexicon. A person who gets a large internet following by posting photos of their pet, or a pet who has achieved internet fame. No, it's not about the person. The pet's the petfluencer. I know they can't use the phone to actually make the posts, to write the captions, to use the hashtags, but still, the pet's way more important. Trauma dumping. Unsolicited, one-sided sharing about a traumatic or intensely negative experience in an inappropriate setting or for those who aren't prepared for it. Yeah, okay, that does happen from time to time. Fan service. This is something that already existed, but I guess it's now become official. Material that has been added to a work of fiction simply to appeal to its fans. Usually there's cleavage involved. Digital nomad. Someone who works remotely while traveling, especially with no fixed permanent address. All right, that just makes sense. Cakeage is a fee charged by a restaurant for serving a cake brought in from outside, which is kind of a pun, play on words after corkage. The uncorking fee that sometimes you have to pay when you're in the restaurant. And then nearly wed is the one that actually I think makes a lot of sense. Based on newlywed, someone who, would be recently married, that makes sense. But a nearly wed, someone who lives with someone in a life partnership with a person possibly engaged with no weddings planned, or possibly with no plans to ever marry. Nearly weds. That one just kind of fits the bill. But what is the one that annoys you the most? And beyond that, what is a word or a phrase or a term that you just can't stand already? Give us the answer for the big question. Ozzy Osbourne gets us started saying that he would tour again. Weeks after just announcing his retirement, saying it's not going to happen. But there's a big if at the front of it. He's saying if he can ever get back to where he can tour again, then yeah, fine, he would like to. And said that announcing that he would no longer be able to tour was probably one of the hardest things that he's ever had to share with his loyal fans. Adding, his singing voice is fine, but 3 operations, stem cell treatments, endless physical therapy sessions, and a recently groundbreaking cybernetics HAL treatment, my body is still physically weak. Honestly, I don't even understand all of the things that happened to Ozzy, but I do understand that last part. You just can't make it happen. And you shouldn't have to. Sir, you shouldn't have to. You've put in some time already. We'll listen to the music still. Foo Fighters are going to be touring, however, and they have made some big announcements in addition to the festivals. They were already tapped to be at several U.S. headline shows throughout the summer, and perhaps an expansion as well to come. Beyond that, no details about Canadian dates, but, give them some time. And Dave Grohl was keeping busy. Now in L.A. at a homeless shelter, he just showed up with a big old barbecue and managed to cook for about 500 people affected by homelessness in the area. He volunteered with the Hope Mission and cooked for 16 hours straight and paid all of the expenses to make it possible as well. Fantastic to hear.
Hey Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
It's coming soon. The very first ever live special on Netflix. Yeah, they've been streaming for forever, but live streaming, not so much. It's Chris Rock's stand-up comedy special, March 4th, called Selective Outrage. And apparently now they're adding pre- and post shows. They're going to be live. Then they're also using a very, very kind of hilarious but also unimaginative title. The Show Before the Show is going to start off at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. When it comes to it, big names like Jerry Seinfeld, Ronnie Chang, Arsenio Hall, Leslie Jones, David Spade, Dana Carvey, whole bunch of other people are going to be involved in this sucker. And it is, for the first time ever, a live stand-up special on Netflix with Chris Rock at the helm. It's snowballing into a huge thing, but is he really sure that putting on the show live is such a good idea? You know what I mean? Gonna need some of those Oscars security guards around the stage. You could be up in the sky yourself, looking at the planets that do exist and the several stars around them, without breaking the bank and without the need to train to go to space. So there is this Japanese startup company that wants to sell rides in space viewing balloon flights. balloon flights 14 miles above the Earth, where you can see the curvature of the Earth below and the expanse of space above you. Presumably, maybe you rotate around a little bit. I mean, it kind of looks like the cockpit to the Millennium Falcon, or like a TIE fighter just taken out of the spaceship and turned into a balloon connection. It's like the weight at the bottom of party balloons or something like that. The house at the bottom of the Up bouquet. But are you kidding me? You want to send people up into space in balloons right now, after Balloon Gate 2023? Those things are going to get shot down faster than that time you thought the server was being nice, and that meant that she was actually into you, right? Oh God, now that I think about it, I hope that the balloon that already got shot down wasn't like a test flight for this company. That'd be awkward.
Thursday.
Once is enough. Enough of the emergency alerts! Alberta, it's working. Okay, it's working. I'm not going to delve into the self-absorbed jerk territory, the person who asks if there's a way to opt out of an emergency alert in the future or anything like that. Is that possible? When I say on behalf of us, we got it, Alberta, loud and clear. You need to relax. I don't know what was going on with it, but the system's working. Other than that, it's working a little too well. But I guess that's what you want in an actual situation, right? And in actual alerts, you want to know. In this case, let me get back to sleep, all right? I was napping. It's like a joke, a bit of a running gag that everything is hit by inflation, right? Even the tooth fairy gets hit by inflation. But the reality is, that's just true. It actually is a thing that has been studied year by year by a group called Delta Dental. They conducted another poll with 1,000 parents of children aged 6 to 12, and basically by the numbers, a 14% increase from last year. That's about $6.23 per tooth, up from $5.36 or so in 2022. I remember first tooth lost, I think I got a $5. No, you know what? I do remember what I got. A $2 bill. That's aging myself just a little bit. Very first tooth that I lost, a $2 bill was what I got underneath the pillow. And I think maybe the maximum that I ever got was a $5, one of the very final teeth, right? And some people, they do a big deal. They make sure the tooth fairy knows when it's a first tooth that's being lost, and then a little bit of extra money goes underneath there, and then the expectations are high, and the delivery afterwards is always lower. Now the tooth fairy is just really excited about that first time. It's a special occasion. After that, we got bank accounts to think about.
Thanks for listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
Time for some music news headlines talking about tours, specifically the Blink-182 tour, the reunion tour. People so excited about. First, they stated they're going to be showing up at some festivals. Then a full run of dates actually, came out, but then there's been 2 injuries throughout February of the same finger belonging to drummer Travis Barker, which has caused them to postpone some of the dates on the tour. Thankfully, not all of them, and if you were happening to grab your tickets for Edmonton's stop, then you're good to go. Actually, they haven't changed that whatsoever. It's far enough into the future. The only dates actually affected are about the first dozen or so, and mostly they're in Mexico as well as a few around the United States. And we also hope that Travis's fingers get completely healed up and he's able to play those shows with incredible skill. Now, Kiss is also on a tour, their very final tour, and they just announced some of the very final dates of the very final tour. They're going to be in Edmonton. Yeah, the end of the road tour is going to be stopping at Rogers Place in Edmonton November 10th. They just announced this just yesterday. 19 new shows, 19 new stops throughout Canada and the U.S., including Saskatoon, Winnipeg, Montreal, Quebec City, Canada, Toronto. Tons of dates here in the north, meaning, full-on North American / world tour. It counts. It counts in a big way.
Friday.
It's not going to stay super warm through the weekend. We'd have got some cool down moments, but we'll be through it. And then it's Monday once again. And is it going to be a bare minimum Monday? Well, I guess that's up to you. Introducing Bare Minimum Mondays. This is the latest thing on the internet. You probably heard more recently about quiet quitting, which is just working your job without going above and beyond with the extra stuff and being, taken advantage of. And this one, again, it sounds worse than it is. Employers are going to love this, but it's really just been popularized by people on the internet who are saying, hey, give yourself a break on a Monday. If you're feeling the Monday dreads about the rest of the week still looming ahead of you, all the work that you still got to get done, all the weird, awkward social interactions that you'll have to endure. It's okay. You can stave off those anxious feelings by knowing that you're not going to be putting in 110 on a Monday. In fact, you're just going to be putting in enough to get by, right? I mean, all I can think about is office space, personally.
Yeah, I just stare at my desk, but it looks like I'm working. I do that for probably another hour after lunch, too. I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
See, it's a problem of motivation, Bob. That's right. Bare minimum Mondays are here. Or as most of us have been truthfully calling them for years, just Monday. Getting started with a tour that, may be coming to North America and the rest of the world. ABBA. Of course, they are no longer going to be touring exactly, but their avatars are. This virtual ABBA voyage experience has been in London and is slated to, basically take the rest of the year for that residency to wrap up. It's January 2024 when they're kind of free to maybe take that ABBA voyage around the world. They do say plans are in development. But of those plans, we don't know cities, venues, any dates. Nothing has been announced. Plans to make plans is all we know about. And speaking of plans to make plans, that's pretty much the story when it comes to Roger Waters and his solo reimagining, re-recording of the Dark Side of the Moon album. He has recently shared a snippet at long last of what some of the music sounds like, specifically a clip of us and them in the studio. He put this up on YouTube saying, "It's coming." Of course, the Dark Side of the Moon 50th anniversary did already come and go on March 1st. And he does say that this is not a replacement for the original, which is obviously irreplaceable. I guess so then it chalks up to just something he kind of felt like doing himself without the rest of the band. And he's worried that they're actually going to be blocking it, but there's no word on any legal hoops to jump through on either side of this scenario just yet. The Beat the Heat fundraiser event on Wednesday, and you can be a part of it. Of course, it's going to be taking place in support of the Boys and Girls Club of Fort McMurray at the Smokin' Butcher up here in Stony Creek Village. Not too far from where we're broadcasting, which is nice. They're nice, neighbors, next door neighbors. And when we head out there on Wednesday, you can join and grab some wings, and a portion of the proceeds is going to be donated back to the Boys and Girls Club of Fort McMurray. But there's a show in it for you as well, because I'm, along with a bunch of other people in the community, have been tasked with tasting some seriously spicy stuff. It's the Hot Ones Challenge. In fact, they bought the Hot Ones range of 10 sauces that get hotter and hotter and hotter as you go. And we are pledging, us people that are competing, I guess, or, on stage, on display, eating the spiciest of the spicy, we got to raise money in order to unlock levels of spice. Pretty simple. Every $100 unlocks the next level. I've made it to level 2 of 10. That's it. Only $200 out of the 1,000 raised so far. We got to get higher, because I know myself with heat. I can handle the first couple of rounds. It's when we get up into like the round 5 and above that I'm going to start sweating. Seriously sweating. But it's all for a great cause. I cannot wait to help out with the Boys and Girls Club of Fort McMurray, but I need your help to make this really, really special. So donate. We got the link for you for myself, as well as Jackson's taking part. So if you want to donate to him, awesome as well. It's all going to the same place. You can check it out on our social media or direct from the Boys and Girls Club of Fort McMurray. Thank you to everybody who's donated so far and has unlocked level 2 for me. Now we're looking at level 3, and I need your help.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruise FM.